Plant these 12 perennial crops once and harvest forever. Hello, fellow plant lovers, and welcome back to Earthly Delights, where soil meets soul and every leaf tells a story. If you've ever dreamed of stepping into your garden or even glancing at your balcony pots and seeing food return year after year without the endless cycle of replanting, you're in the right place. Maybe you're a busy parent who wants fresh greens without spending every weekend digging. Or perhaps you're someone who's just starting out and feels overwhelmed by the constant work of seasonal gardening. Some of you may be seasoned gardeners, tired of wasting money on short-lived crops. And many of you are here because you crave a more sustainable lifestyle, one that rewards you with abundance and beauty while saving time, effort, and stress. In today's video, I'm going to share something that feels almost magical. 12 perennial crops you can plant once and enjoy forever. These are the plants that don't just grow. They come back year after year, feeding you and your loved ones and giving you a sense of security and joy every time you step into your green space. By the end of this journey, you'll see how your garden, whether it's a backyard, a patio, or just a row of containers, can transform into a harvest that never ends. So settle in, plant enthusiasts, because this may be the turning point for how you approach gardening. And before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Earthly Delights and tap that little bell so you never miss another secret to growing smarter, not harder. Part 1. Leafy and kitchen staples. Everyday use plants. When most people picture a garden that lasts forever, they think of fruit trees or deep-rooted crops. But the real secret begins with the leafy companions you'll use every single day in your kitchen. These herbs and greens don't just flavor your meals. They return each year with little effort, giving you freshness at your fingertips and making your garden feel alive all season long. 1. Chives, the kitchen window companion. Let's begin with one of the easiest yet most rewarding perennials you can grow. Chives. Think of them as the loyal friend who always shows up, no matter the season. Once planted, chives return year after year, offering you fresh, onion-flavored greens that can instantly brighten soups, eggs, salads, or even a simple slice of buttered bread. What makes them truly special is their versatility. They thrive both in outdoor beds and small containers. So whether you have a sprawling backyard or just a sunny windowsill, chives will fit right into your life. For busy parents who want quick kitchen shortcuts, or for beginners who might be nervous about killing their plants, chives are almost foolproof. Keep the soil moist, snip a few leaves, and they'll bounce right back with more. And when the purple blossoms appear, don't rush to cut them off. They attract bees and pollinators, quietly boosting the health of the rest of your garden. Imagine stepping outside, scissors in hand, and harvesting fresh greens within seconds. No grocery store run, no wilted herbs in plastic bags. That's the everyday magic chives bring. So let me ask you, would you keep a pot of chives by your kitchen door, or let them spread in your garden bed as a pollinator-friendly border? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to know how you'd welcome this perennial companion into your green space. 2. Sorrel, the lemony green that never quits. Next on our list is sorrel, a leafy perennial that deserves far more attention than it gets. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary green, but the moment you taste it, you'll understand why gardeners treasure it. Sorrel has a bright, lemony tang that can transform a salad, add depth to soups, or give a refreshing twist to smoothies. Unlike annual greens such as lettuce or spinach that fade quickly, sorrel keeps coming back every spring, ready to feed you again and again. For those of you juggling busy schedules, sorrel is the kind of plant that asks for almost nothing, yet gives so much in return. It tolerates a wide range of soils, manages partial shade, and shrugs off pests with ease. This makes it perfect for beginners who feel nervous about starting out, or for seasoned gardeners who want a reliable set-and-forget crop. Trim it regularly, and sorrel rewards you with tender new leaves, almost like it's eager to keep serving your table. Picture this. While your neighbors are still waiting for their seedlings to sprout, you'll already be plucking handfuls of fresh, zesty leaves to brighten your meals. It's like having your own secret supply of flavor and nutrition, year after year. So here's my question. Would you use sorrel to elevate your fresh garden salads? Or would you cook it down into a tangy sauce to surprise your family? Share your answer in the comments and let's see how adventurous you are ready to get with this underrated green. 3. Perennial kale. The superfood that stays now. Let's talk about a leafy crop that has been quietly gaining fame among gardeners who crave both nutrition and reliability. Perennial kale. Unlike the kales you find at the grocery store, which usually dies off after one season, perennial kale keeps producing year after year, even through colder months in many regions. Imagine never having to replant your kale beds every spring, yet still enjoying a steady stream of nutrient-packed leaves that are rich in vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. For health-conscious viewers, this plant is a dream. Fresh, homegrown kale at your fingertips means smoothies, salads, and sautés can always include that powerful green boost. And for busy gardeners, perennial kale reduces the workload. Once established, it grows stronger each year, often sprouting new shoots and leaves with little care. A bit of compost in the spring, some water during dry spells, and you're set. The beauty of perennial kale is that it adapts to your space. Grow it in the ground if you want a full, bushy plant, or try it in large pots for patios and balconies. Either way, you'll be surprised how much food a single plant can provide. Imagine stepping outside on a chilly autumn morning, harvesting a handful of tender leaves while other crops are fading. That's the kind of resilience perennial kale brings. So let me ask, would you grow kale as a staple superfood to fuel your daily meals, or as a backup green when your seasonal veggies slow down? Tell me in the comments, because this is one perennial that truly deserves a place in every garden. Part 2, Roots and Underground Treasures Hidden Harvest. While leafy greens give us daily freshness, some of the greatest perennials hide their rewards beneath the soil. These root crops don't just survive, they thrive quietly underground, waiting to surprise you with flavors both bold and comforting. They're the secret stash of the garden, crops that return year after year to fill your pantry with strength and resilience. 4. Rhubarb, the heritage treasure. Let's step into the world of rhubarb, a perennial that feels like a living heirloom passed down through generations. Many gardeners remember seeing its giant leaves and ruby red stalks in their grandmother's backyard, standing tall as one of the first signs of spring. Rhubarb is more than just a crop, it's a tradition. Once you plant it, rhubarb can keep producing for a decade or longer, offering you vibrant stalks at a time when little else is ready to harvest. For busy families, this means fresh food early in the season without constant replanting. For beginners, rhubarb offers a reliable start. Just give it space and a sunny spot, and it will reward you year after year. Its maintenance is minimal. Water during dry spells, mulch before winter, and resist harvesting the first year so the plant can establish its strength. After that, you'll be amazed by how generously it grows. Rhubarb's uses are just as versatile as the plant itself. From sweet pies and jams to tangy sauces that pair beautifully with meat, these stalks can transform simple meals into something memorable. But remember, only the stalks are edible. The leaves contain oxalic acid and should never be eaten. Still, the plant itself makes a striking statement in the garden. Its broad leaves casting shade over the soil and keeping weeds at bay. Picture yourself in early spring, walking into your garden and finding bold, red stalks pushing through the cool earth, the promise of another year's harvest already fulfilled. That's the gift of rhubarb. Would you grow it for the flavor-packed pies, or simply for the delight of seeing a plant that bridges your garden with tradition? Share your thoughts in the comments. I can't wait to hear your stories. 5. Horseradish, the spicy survivor. Now let's dig into one of the boldest root crops you'll ever meet, horseradish. This perennial is famous for its fiery flavor, the kind that clears your sinuses and wakes up any dish. But beyond its culinary kick, horseradish is also one of the toughest and most persistent plants you can grow. Once you tuck a piece of root into the soil, it will come back year after year, often spreading wider and stronger the longer it stays in your garden. For gardeners who want a crop that almost takes care of itself, horseradish is the definition of set it and forget it. It thrives in full sun, appreciates loose, well-drained soil, and needs little more than an occasional drink of water during long dry spells. In fact, your biggest challenge might not be keeping it alive, but keeping it under control, because horseradish loves to spread. Many experienced growers plant it in its own dedicated bed or a large container to make sure it doesn't take over. When harvest time arrives in late fall, you'll be rewarded with thick, knobby roots packed with intense flavor. Freshly grated horseradish sauce is nothing like the store-bought jars. It's stronger, fresher, and adds a fiery punch to everything from roast beef to homemade pickles. And here's a hidden bonus. Any small root pieces left behind in the soil will sprout into new plants, guaranteeing you another year's harvest without lifting a finger. Imagine walking into your garden, digging into the cool soil, and pulling up a root that connects you directly to centuries of culinary tradition. That's horseradish, powerful, persistent, and always ready to deliver. So tell me, would you dare to add this spicy survivor to your garden, even if it meant keeping a watchful eye on its wandering roots? Drop your answer in the comments. 6. Jerusalem. Artichokes, the hidden sunflower treasure. Now, let's uncover a perennial that many gardeners overlook, but quickly fall in love with once they try. Jerusalem artichokes, also known as sunchokes. At first, you might mistake them for tall sunflowers, because that's their close cousin. But beneath the soil lies their true gift, knobby tubers with a sweet, nutty flavor that can be roasted, mashed, or eaten raw for a crisp crunch. They're a root crop with the heart of a sunflower, both beautiful and practical. For gardeners who want resilience, sunchokes are almost too good to be true. They thrive in poor soil, handle drought, and return year after year without fuss. Plant them once, and you'll never need to worry about replanting, because any tubers left in the soil sprout right back the following season. It's like nature's built-in food storage. But here's the catch. They love to spread. Once established, they can quickly claim a corner of your yard. Instead of seeing this as a challenge, think of it as a gift, a self-replenishing patch of food that doubles as a natural windbreak or privacy screen with stalks that grow up to 10 feet tall. For busy families or survival gardeners, this is a crop that promises both abundance and security. Harvest time is one of the best rewards. After the first frost in late fall, dig into the soil and you'll find tubers that have turned sweeter with the cold. Roast them like potatoes, blend them into soups, or enjoy them raw for a nutty snack straight from the ground. Imagine pulling up handfuls of golden tubers while the rest of the garden sleeps. An underground treasure waiting just for you. Would you let Jerusalem artichokes take over a corner of your space for endless harvest? Share your answer below. Part 3. Long-term investments, crops that stand the test of time. Some perennials aren't just garden companions, they're commitments that reward your patience with decades of abundance. These are the plants that grow stronger as the years pass, transforming a single planting into a legacy of food and beauty. They ask for a little care up front, but in return, they offer harvests that feel almost timeless. 7. Asparagus, the 20-year promise. If there's one perennial that embodies patience and reward, it's asparagus. This crop is often called the crown jewel of long-term gardening because once established, it can keep producing tender spears for 15 to 20 years. Imagine planting a bed just once and enjoying fresh, homegrown asparagus every spring for the next 2 decades. That's not just a crop, it's a promise. For beginners, asparagus might seem intimidating, but here's the truth. It's simpler than you think. Start with 1-year-old crowns instead of seeds and give them a permanent spot in your garden bed. They thrive in full sun and well-drained soil, and though the first year requires patience, no harvesting so the plants can build strength, the rewards are unmatched. By the 2nd or 3rd year, you'll be snapping off fresh spears as one of the very first vegetables of spring, right when you crave something green and vibrant most. Asparagus is also a time saver for busy gardeners. With a little compost in the spring, regular watering during dry spells, and a weed-free bed, it practically takes care of itself. Once the plants mature, they send up spears every year like clockwork, reminding you of the power of perennials to provide consistency and abundance without constant replanting. Picture yourself stepping into the garden after a long winter and seeing those first green shoots push through the soil. It's like hope itself coming alive. That's why many gardeners say their only regret is not planting asparagus sooner. So let me ask you, would you dedicate a permanent bed in your garden to this 20-year provider? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to know if asparagus has earned a place in your forever harvest. 8. Globe artichoke, the edible sculpture. Now let's move to a plant that is as stunning to look at as it is delicious to eat. The globe artichoke. This perennial is the showstopper of any garden, with tall silver green leaves and sculptural buds that look like they belong in a museum. But here's the best part. Those dramatic buds are edible, tender, and bursting with flavor when harvested at the right time. Plant an artichoke once and it can reward you with 5 or more years of harvests, making it both a feast for the eyes and the table. For gardeners who love beauty as much as practicality, artichokes bring the perfect balance. They thrive in full sun and rich, well-drained soil, and they need room to spread, about 3 feet between plants. Once established, they'll send up multiple buds each season. Cut them while they're still tight for the best flavor, or let a few bloom into enormous purple flowers that attract pollinators and stop visitors in their tracks. For busy gardeners, artichokes are surprisingly easy to maintain. Water consistently during dry spells, and add compost each year, and they'll reward you with dozens of buds. In cooler climates, start them indoors and transplant them once frost danger passes. In warmer areas, they grow happily in the ground year after year. Imagine serving freshly steamed artichokes to your family, each leaf dipped into butter or garlic sauce, while your garden glows with silvery leaves and vibrant flowers. This is more than just a crop. It's a statement piece for your green space. So tell me, would you grow globe artichokes mainly for their delicious buds, or would you let them bloom into living art? Share your choice in the comments. I'm curious how you'd showcase this edible sculpture. 9. Walking onions, the plant that moves on its own. Few perennials capture the imagination like walking onions, also called Egyptian onions. Unlike regular onions that stay put until you dig them up, walking onions have a quirky habit. They replant themselves. At the top of their tall green stalks, they grow clusters of little bulbs called top sets. As these bulbs get heavier, the stalk bends down until the bulbs touch the ground. And just like that, they take root and grow again. It's as if the onions are literally walking across your garden, one season at a time. For gardeners who want a crop that feels almost magical, walking onions are perfect. They're nearly indestructible, surviving harsh winters, shrugging off pests, and needing only minimal care. Plant a few bulbs in well-drained straws in full sun, and they'll multiply on their own, creating an endless onion patch that comes back stronger every year. These onions are also wonderfully versatile. The green tops can be snipped and used like scallions. The underground bulbs add that familiar onion punch to any dish, and the top set bulbs themselves can be replanted or cooked. Every part of the plant is useful, making it one of the most efficient perennials you can grow. Picture showing your kids or friends how an onion literally plants itself. It's a lesson in nature's creativity and resilience. Walking onions don't just feed your family, they spark curiosity and wonder in everyone who sees them. So let me ask you, would you grow walking onions for their endless supply of food, or for the sheer joy of watching them walk across your garden? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to know how this living curiosity would find a home in your green space. Part 4, fruits that keep coming back, sweet rewards for years. Now that we've explored greens, roots, and long-term garden companions, it's time to talk about the sweetest part of perennials, fruit. These plants don't just nourish your body, they create traditions, memories, and joy season after season. Once established, they return every year, offering harvests that feel like nature's gift on repeat. 10. Blueberries, the sweet antioxidant powerhouse. Let's dive into a fruit that's as healthy as it is delicious. Blueberries. These shrubs are true garden treasures, producing bowls of sweet berries every summer while requiring surprisingly little effort once they're established. What makes blueberries so remarkable is their longevity. With the right care, a single bush can keep producing fruit for decades, turning your garden into a family fruit patch that keeps on giving year after year. For health-conscious gardeners, blueberries are a dream, Packed with antioxidants, fiber, and vitamins, they're often called a superfood. And having your own supply means you can skip the expensive store-bought cartons. For busy families, they're a low-maintenance addition that offers huge payoffs. Give them acidic soil, around a pH of 4.5 to 5.5, full sun, and consistent water, and they'll thrive. Mulching with pine needles or bark helps retain moisture and keeps weeds down, making care even easier. What makes blueberries especially rewarding is how their harvest grows with the plant. In the first couple of years, you'll get small handfuls, but as the bush matures, it will give you bigger harvests every summer. And they're versatile too. Eat them fresh right off the bush, freeze them for smoothies, or turn them into homemade jams and pies that capture summer flavor all year long. Imagine your kids or grandkids running out to the garden, staining their fingers blue as they snack straight from the bush. Those are the kind of memories perennial crops create, traditions built around abundance. So tell me, would you plant blueberries mainly for fresh, daily snacking? Or would you grow them to fill your freezer for year-round treats? Share your answer in the comments. I'd love to hear how this sweet powerhouse would serve your family. 11. Raspberries, the bramble that keeps on giving. Let's turn to a fruit that's both wildly abundant and wonderfully nostalgic. Raspberries. These brambles may look a little scrappy, but once they take root, they'll reward you with bowls of ruby red berries every summer, often for decades. Plant them once, and they'll spread naturally, creating a thicket of canes that return year after year. For gardeners who love effortless harvests, raspberries are like a self-sustaining candy shop growing in your backyard. For busy gardeners or families with kids, raspberries are especially rewarding. Children love plucking the berries straight from the canes, and the taste of a sun-warmed raspberry is far sweeter than anything you'll ever buy in a plastic container. Best of all, raspberries thrive in many climates, needing only full sun, decent soil, and some support as their canes grow tall and arching. Yes, they can spread aggressively, but instead of seeing that as a problem, think of it as abundance. Plant them along a fence line or dedicate a corner of your garden, and you'll always have more than enough to enjoy fresh or turn into jams, sauces, or frozen treats. With a little pruning in late winter to remove old canes, your patch will keep producing vigorously year after year. Picture yourself on a summer morning, filling a basket with berries while birds chatter nearby, or surprising your family with fresh raspberry jam at breakfast. These brambles aren't just plants, they're memory makers. So tell me, would you let raspberries take over a sunny corner of your yard for endless summer harvests? Or would you carefully contain them in raised beds to keep them tidy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I can't wait to hear how you'd enjoy this bramble that keeps on giving. 12. Strawberries, the sweet ground cover. Finally, let's end our journey with one of the most beloved perennials of all, strawberries. Few things in the garden spark joy like these little red gems hiding under a bed of green leaves. While many gardeners treat strawberries as annuals, in most climates they are true perennials, returning year after year and spreading through runners to create a carpet of sweetness. Plant them once, and soon you'll have a patch that feels like nature's candy store at your doorstep. For families, strawberries are pure magic. Kids love hunting for the bright red fruits, and the thrill of picking them straight from the plant is something store-bought berries will never match. For busy gardeners, strawberries pull double duty. They feed you and act as a natural ground cover, suppressing weeds while decorating your beds with flowers and fruit. With just a little mulch in winter and regular watering during hot months, they'll come back stronger each spring. One of the best things about strawberries is their versatility. Enjoy them fresh in the morning with yogurt, blend them into smoothies, or turn a bumper crop into homemade jam. And if you grow ever-bearing varieties, you'll get not just one big harvest, but waves of berries throughout the season, stretching the joy for months. Imagine stepping into your garden on a warm June morning, the air filled with sweetness, as you crouch down to find a ripe strawberry glowing like a jewel in the leaves. That's the magic of this perennial. So would you plant strawberries mainly for fresh daily snacking, or would you use them to fill jars of jam and preserves to enjoy all year? Share your answer in the comments. I'd love to know how you'd savor this ground cover of joy. Plant once, harvest forever. So there you have it, 12 perennial crops that can transform the way you see your garden. From the humble chive on your kitchen windowsill to the towering Jerusalem artichoke. From the heritage rhubarb that feels like a family heirloom to the sweet berries that create childhood memories. These plants prove one thing. Gardening doesn't have to be an endless cycle of starting over. Instead, buy it at it with perennials. You make an investment once and reap the rewards for years, sometimes even decades. What makes this list special is that it speaks to all kinds of gardeners. If you're a beginner who worries about keeping plants alive, these perennials forgive mistakes and keep coming back. If you're a busy parent or professional with little time, these crops quietly thrive with minimal care. And if you're a seasoned grower dreaming of sustainability and abundance, this is your toolkit for creating a garden that works for you instead of against you. But most of all, perennials bring joy. They surprise you with early spring shoots, fill your baskets with summer sweetness, and return again and again like old friends. They're not just food, they're memories, traditions, and a promise of resilience. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 12 crops would you plant first in your own garden, balcony, or backyard? Drop your answer into the comments. I can't wait to see what excites you most. And if you found inspiration today, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with a fellow gardener, and subscribe to Earthly Delights for more stories, tips, and green inspiration. Together, let's grow smarter, not harder, and enjoy the harvest that truly lasts forever.